I guess the first question I would be is, it seems like in all the depictions of heaven, it seems, from what I've heard, and I haven't read through everything, but it seems like very sexualized, and I'm just not sure how I feel about that.
You're saying the description of women in heaven is sexualized. Is that what you're saying?
No, just like the entirety of heaven. I don't know.
The entirety of heaven is sexualized.
There's a lot of descriptions, like there's lots of food and there's lots of women, and I don't know, maybe it's just, to me, it feels like it's missing Allah, which should be the point of heaven. I really don't know a ton though, so like, go ahead.
What have you read? Let me just before I answer your question, what sources have you read for what you say?
I've never read through the Quran. I've just heard it on like YouTube and stuff.
Which sources? People who are non-Muslims talking about Islam?
I don't even know what specific sources, but
No, I'm saying they were non-Muslims who were talking about Islam that you heard from.
it could be. I don't exactly remember what it was. Probably.
Okay, so I would say but at least you're coming to a Muslim to ask the question. I'd say the best source, the best source is to be the people.
Fair.
Yeah, the people who actually believe the thing. So we wouldn't say food is sexual, for example. You mentioned food in Jannah, right?
Sorry, just like pleasures. I guess you could say it that way.
Yeah. So Jannah is where you have whatever your heart desires. So of course, everything in Jannah is the desires of a human being, because it's a reward, and you're rewarded by what you desire. That's the definition of a reward. If I give you something you don't desire, that is not a reward. So paradise, from an Islamic perspective, is a reward. You have gardens in Jannah. You have rivers. You have drinks that are not like the drinks of this life. Like, for example, you have alcohol that is not like the alcohol of this life. That is not sour like the alcohol in this life. That does not give you a hangover. Complete different type of alcohol, right? You have milk that does not go off. You have honey that is 100% pure, which you don't have in this life. You cannot have 100% pure honey. These types of things that would be in paradise, fruits, different fruits, etc. You will have in paradise, as the Quran describes. You have Hur al-Ain, which is a creation of God, a feminine creation of God that is given to men. You have palaces, gold, you have silver, you have beds, you have everything that your heart desires. So the things that human beings would desire, and anything that they can desire or ask for, they can ask for in paradise, and they can be given according to the Quran. And paradise has different levels, and the highest reward in paradise that is mentioned in the hadith is where Allah Azza wa Jalla will speak to the believers, and He will say to the believers, are you satisfied with all of these things that I mentioned to you? And then they will say yes. So Allah says He will increase them, and they will see Allah. This is the highest reward we will have in paradise.
So not everybody gets to?
The people who will be in paradise will see Allah.
Everybody?
The people who are in paradise. The people who are not in paradise, they're not going to see Allah.
Yeah.
Allah, in fact, Allah explicitly says in the Quran that they would be veiled away from Allah, the disbelievers. They're not going to see Allah because it's a reward. It's not just a reward. Look, when you see something beautiful, that's a reward.
Yeah.
Allah is the source of beauty.
Yeah.
Right? Allah is the most beautiful. And one of the names of Allah is Al-Jamil. So the most beautiful is Allah, and beauty comes from Allah. So seeing Allah is, as I just said to you, is the highest reward that believers will have in paradise. So you said it's not about Allah. When you see Allah in paradise, is actually, as the hadith says, the highest reward that we'll have is to see Allah in paradise.
Yeah.
But as I said to you, it's a place of reward. Look, in this life, if you know a bit about Islam, for example, if you heard about Islam, wherever you heard maybe about Islam, because you might know some of these rules of Muslims they don't have intercourse before marriage, for example, right? Muslims don't drink alcohol, they don't eat pork. So you hear about prohibitions in this life, things that Allah prohibits you. You stop them, you don't do them in this life, because Allah prohibited you from doing them in this life, and Allah rewards you in the afterlife by giving you what your heart desires. You get the point?
Yeah.
So paradise is a place of reward, and if you agree that paradise is a place of reward, then it would make sense for you to have your desires there. Does that make sense for your question?
Yeah, it does. I also had a question about when it talks about heaven for women, and it says like there's not any mention of it, and they say that they have this saying that if you don't, when there's silence on a subject, it means, I don't know.
And I'm smiling about what you said because I find it funny, you know? The reason I find it funny is because when you know something's completely false and someone is telling you something, it sounds amusing. You get what I'm trying to say, right?
Yeah.
So look, the description of paradise is genderless in the Quran. There is no description for men and description for women. So the Quran does not differentiate in the description on paradise for men and women. Everything I mentioned to you, rivers and food and all of these things and seeing Allah, that's all for men and women in paradise. Allah Azza wa Jalla says in the Quran, and whoever believes in Allah and does righteous deeds, believing men or women, Allah will reward it. So
what about the whole concept of like the Hura line or whatever they're called?
Yes, Hur al-Ain, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. What's up with them?
Isn't that gendered?
That's gendered, yeah. paradise is not about hur al-ain. Paradise is about what your heart desires. And Allah created men and women differently. The physiology of men and women are different. For example, most women, and probably you would agree with me, they would desire to be with one man that they love and admire and they respect. Would you agree?
Yes.
Or do you think that most women want to be with multiple men?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
Think so.
So a woman's psychology is that she wants to be with a man, one man that she's loyal to, that she respects and she loves and she admires. But the nature of most men that they want multiple women is the nature of a man. So when you talk about the types of reward, this specific reward that you ask about hur al-ain, it will be in accordance to the physiology of men and women. But that's the only example that you can mention. Do you get what I'm saying? And Allah says in the Quran, لَهُمْ مَا يَشَاءُونَ فِيهَا, for them whatever they will, for them whatever they desire in paradise. So if a woman, they do not want multiple men, why is it a problem for them not to give multiple men? You know, for me,
I don't. Yeah. I'm not saying that women want that. I was confused.
No, I'm just saying. It's not you. I'm not addressing just you because this is a claim that a lot of people make. Yeah. For me, it's just ridiculous for someone to say that. Look, they don't get this, but they don't want this. So why would they get something that they do not want?
Yeah.
Right? But they get what they want. That's the thing that Allah says in the Quran. Man or a woman, you get what you want. And everything else I mentioned is for both men and women.
Okay, I guess I thought the whole concept of like, not even just the women, but like the gardens and the food and everything was just for men and there wasn't any mention of things for women. I was like, well, that's a little...
Imagine, I'll tell you something interesting. You know, Islam is the biggest growing religion in the world. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, conversion rate, not birth rate. So people accepting the religion. According to Pew Research, are you from America?
Yeah.
Do you know about Pew Research?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest research centers in America, right? So according to Pew Research Institute, by conversion, the biggest growing religion in the world is Islam. Conversion rate, not birth rate. Do you know that 3 out of every 4 people that accept Islam are women?
Yeah, I've watched a lot of your stuff.
Okay, so no, but I want you to think about that. Imagine 3 out of 4 people accept Islam are women, and there's nothing for them in paradise. That would be hilarious for me, right?
I'll be up soon. Sorry.
No, it's okay. So what we're saying is this, like, paradise is not gender specific. It's for both men and women, and they will get the rewards in paradise. Whether it's a woman or whether it's a man, they will get rewarded in paradise. They will have what they desire. But obviously get to paradise first. You know? That's the point. When you get to paradise, you can ask these questions like which specific type of reward you will get. And Allah Azza wa Jal says that the people will not want to move away from paradise, which means all of the desires will be fulfilled. Allah says, end of chapter 18 of the Quran, لا يبغون عنها حولا. They do not desire to turn away from their current state. They don't want any change in their state from the complete fulfillment that people will have in paradise. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.